creek relief is what you might think. In Mecklenburg County, 80% of our streams are polluted, and trees act as great filters for water quality. So our mission is to reforest areas like this that have been denuded of trees and return them back into a natural forested state. The program got started about 5 years ago when we realized a very significant percentage of our streams needed tree cover.
One year we decided we were going to plant a couple hundred trees, and we had overwhelming community support.
We want to dig stuff!
Nice diversity, you know, we're not planting like one type.
There's about 10 different kind of tree species in here.
We're digging a hole?
Well, we're attempting to dig a hole.
Look at the trunk, and you see where the trunk starts to flare out just above the roots. And these tree tubes, you may think it would block the sunlight from getting at the seedling, but actually it creates like a mini greenhouse effect.
This keeps deer from chewing.
Have one person kind of grab the branches, and it's a lot easier to put this over the tree after the tube is in place.
You use this circle thing, you put it over the pole and you go like this.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
When you make the circle with the zip tie, the ridges go in. These trees will grow if they're planted correctly. We have some trees that were this size 2 years ago that are now maybe 12 feet tall. Water pollution is a huge problem in the United States, and we're no different here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Aquatic organisms that live in these streams, they can't handle a lot of the sediment that's coming off of this area during large rain events.
It's caused by many different factors. It could be direct output from industrial facilities, but it could also be runoff from a residential lot. The water that travels along the land surface and into either a storm drain or directly into a creek is runoff. If that runoff occurs over things like parking lots or development sites, it can either pick up gasoline, oil, brake dust, and then wash that into the creek.
If there's trees in a place, there can't be impervious surfaces around it. Impervious surfaces don't allow water to infiltrate. When the water doesn't infiltrate, you have runoff that floods creeks. So by doing this, we're basically ensuring that they don't pave this area eventually. I don't know if that makes sense.
This waterway that we're looking at is a major source of our drinking water.
Wherever there's a tree, when we have rainfall,
Raindrops themselves, instead of hitting directly on the earth, on the soil and dislodging it, they instead hit the tree and then slowly drip down into the soil and are allowed to soak into the soil.
And once that water is infiltrated into the ground, it provides the creek with flow during dry weather.
and so if you haven't had a lot of rain, it takes weeks, sometimes months for that water to migrate underground. The more trees you have all over your city, the more that infiltration occurs and the healthier your stream quality.
We also know, though, too, that trees are very important in terms of our air quality.
Trees live off of CO2 and then I don't know, somehow they put it back in the air. I'm not a biologist, that's your job. You should be telling us about that.
It provides oxygen and shade.
Don't they make people breathe better?
I don't know the exact science of it, but I know it's, you know, the trees are always good. Planting trees helps the environment. It replenishes what we're losing.
Tree canopy produces oxygen. Trees also remove particulates from the air. Trees also remove these pollutants. So they not only cool the air by shading it, they also cool the air by their own evapotranspiration process.
This is a good thing for all of us, especially here in Charlotte, where we have such bad air quality.
We are able to install trees at a very low cost because our volunteers come out here and work free to install all these thousands of trees, and without them we couldn't get this done.
Anyone can plant their own tree in their backyard to try to help out.
The efforts here today are being multiplied several times over with what people do when they go home.
Not necessarily this event, it's the education that takes place during this event.
To keep up with and reduce the loss of tree canopy as development continues, everybody that can must plant trees.